Hey you, Meowkaiser coming at you today with a patch 9.6.01 rundown. This is a very small patch. Most of it is PvE focused. There's a couple of cool things to keep in mind. For the tech lab, it's going to be a Goliath supply, so a lot of returning skins are going to be there, as well as a new Seaside Johan skin. I am very excited for the Azuko emoticons. For those of you who don't know, Azuko is Shoichi's daughter, so I definitely want to get those. we'll see if I pull them. And then here's some of the re-released products. We get a new Aglaia Palace with 3 new skins, with Fiora being the live 2D skin. And then here's the changes. So Hyunwoo's Brawler has been nerfed. It's now cooldown from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. Brawler was probably one of the most powerful parts of his kit, and reducing the power on that will make him so that he's less... I don't know how to explain it, but he'll be... He used to be able to just kind of get away with just not making stamina at all, which made Brawler very powerful. But now he will be rewarded a little bit less for fighting very often. So we'll see how this affects him. I still think he'll be a very strong pick, but we'll see. We will see. Hyejin had her stat attack growth nerfed. She will have 1.8 less stat attack at level 18. Shoichi had his level 1 HP nerfed. This also affects his level 18 HP, so he will just have 8 less HP at all stages. It's a very minor nerf, but what it does affect is his level 1 contest, which is a big deal. There's a lot of characters that already beat him level 1, and having even lower HP means that there are going to be even more characters that'll beat him at a level 1 contest. Isol's Recollection has been buffed. It's the skill that allows him to avoid stepping on traps that he placed on an area when he activates it. So now it has a duration from 10 seconds to 15 seconds. They really seem to be pushing this hybrid Isol playstyle. And we're going to start seeing situations where if you see an Isol in your lobby, you're definitely going to have to build EOD suit, just because Isol is getting rewarded more and more for placing down traps. And it's just something you have to keep in mind. And then Sua's level 1 stamina has been buffed. Doesn't really change too much. Okay, so here's PvE difficulties. Certain stats of enemies appearing in PvE mode has been lowered on all difficulties. The stats of the enraged test subject has been partially lowered, and the number of areas accessible at the start has been adjusted. I don't know if this means we're getting more or less areas at the start. We will see. I know a lot of people were complaining how triple bears and triple gorillas will tend to one-shot one of your party members regardless of how much armor you have. And so hopefully this addresses that. That being said, I really wish that they had addressed the timer on hard mode, because 20 seconds with no hotkeys is extremely difficult on PC. Anyways, so Jackie received buffed on her hide and seek. So now she deals a lot more additional damage with it. Shiukai's passive affects all allies, and you recover an additional 20% whenever eating food. It's okay, but what's really important is that his level 1 Feeling Hot, which is his combat skill, it only consumes 1% of his health rather than 5%. That being said, I don't know if this is necessarily a buff or not, but it's something to keep in mind. So here's Damnation. Chance to obtain a card goes from 10% to 20%. Max's Tough Body gives 10% extra armor. And then 1v17 stacks are no longer consumed. This is probably just an oversight. Sacel's Agony Bearer. She now recovers 30% HP rather than just 5%. I think this makes sense in terms of how the game scales. It's not like regular BS where you can eat food very periodically. When you play in this mode, a lot of times it is a waste of your time to eat food. You want to eat food out of combat. Rusty's Distorted Malice now reduces armor by 15%. I think this just makes sense before you didn't really notice this. Chloe's Pulling Strings just does more damage. And most notably is that this becomes a lot more of a burst when you actually combine the skills together, whereas before it was not even worth combining them. Most people didn't even know it wasn't worth combining them. And it's one of those things where it's like you should feel you would think it would be worth it to combine them. So this change makes a lot of sense. Her attack skill now does a lot more damage percentage just based on Chloe's total armor, so that's just another thing to keep in mind. And then Enraged Kiara, damage dealt by judgment has been lowered, the amount of life / level has been increased, and then the amount of life and level has been increased for Enraged Zahir. And then they're going to do a ranking events restart for PvE so that we can try again with the new adjusted changes. Basically, the way I see it, PvE is going to be a little bit easier. I think what probably happened was that people were not succeeding as much as they had wanted them to, and so they're trying to make the game mode easier so that we win more often, which is not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's a single player experience. You're just going to have fun with it regardless. So we'll see where this goes. For the first round of changes for PvE, I honestly didn't expect much. There was a lot of suggestions, both on the server, the Google form doc, and everything. So it's going to be a while before PvE gets to a state that I'm personally going to be extremely happy with, but I definitely see the potential in the mode, so I'll definitely keep my eye on it. If it ends up being a mode that I have a lot of fun with, I will be live streaming it more, but as of right now, it's not something that I really want to do over playing the regular game, but that doesn't mean that it's a bad mode. I think that the mode has a lot of potential, and I am very excited to see where they go with this. And with that out of the way, peace.